Maya's phone rang at exactly 7 in the morning, and she knew immediately something was wrong. "Nobody called that early unless it was bad news. Hello?" she answered, her voice still thick with sleep. "Maya, dear, it's me," came Mrs. Chen's weak voice from the other end. The elderly woman who'd been watching her son after school for the past year sounded terrible. "I'm so sorry, but I'm at the hospital. They're saying it's pneumonia. I won't be able to watch Liam today, maybe not for a while." Maya's heart sank. She sat up in bed, already calculating in her head. No babysitter meant no one to pick up Liam from school. No one to watch him until she got home from work at 6, and she absolutely could not miss work today, not after missing 3 days last month when Liam had that asthma attack. Her supervisor at Sterling and Associates had made it very clear that she was on thin ice. "It's okay, Mrs. Chen. Please take care of yourself. Don't worry about us," Maya said, trying to sound calm even though panic was rising in her chest. After hanging up, she sat there for a moment in the dark. Her small bedroom in their tiny 2-bedroom apartment felt even smaller than usual. Through the thin walls, she could hear her neighbor's TV already blaring. The rent was due in 5 days. She had exactly $43 in her checking account until payday. Her ex-husband hadn't sent child support in 8 months, and her lawyer said it would take forever to get the court to do anything about it. She couldn't afford to lose this job. Maya got up and walked to her son's room. Liam was still sleeping, his small chest rising and falling steadily. He looked so peaceful. At 7 years old, he'd already been through so much. The divorce, moving to this cramped apartment, watching his mother work herself to exhaustion just to keep them afloat. And through it all, he never complained. He was the sweetest kid she'd ever known. She gently shook his shoulder. "Hey, buddy. Wake up." Liam's eyes fluttered open. "Is it time for school?" "Not yet." "Listen, I need to talk to you about something." Maya sat on the edge of his bed. "Mrs. Chen is sick, so she can't watch you today. I know this isn't ideal, but I need you to come to work with me." Liam sat up, suddenly wide awake. "Really, to the big building downtown?" "Yes, but here's the thing. You have to be absolutely quiet and invisible. You'll sit in the break room, do your homework, read your books. Can you do that for me?" "I promise, Mom. I'll be so quiet they won't even know I'm there." His face was so earnest, so eager to help that Maya felt her throat tighten. "I know you will, sweetheart." The morning rush was chaos as usual. Maya packed Liam's backpack with extra homework, 2 library books, his drawing pad, and some snacks. She made sure his inhaler was in the front pocket just in case. Then they hurried to catch the bus downtown. On the ride, Liam pressed his face against the window, watching the city wake up. "Mom, why is that man sleeping on the bench?" "He probably doesn't have a home, honey." "Why not?" "Life is hard sometimes. Some people don't have families to help them or jobs to pay for apartments." Liam was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "We're lucky, aren't we? Even though our apartment is small." Maya squeezed his hand. "Yeah, baby. We're lucky." Sterling and Associates was located on the 23rd floor of a gleaming downtown high-rise. Maya worked as a receptionist at the front desk, greeting clients, answering phones, scheduling appointments for the lawyers who worked there. It paid decent money, but the environment was cold. Everything was about appearance and image. The lawyers wore suits that cost more than she made in a month. The clients were CEOs and business executives with problems only expensive attorneys could solve. Maya smuggled Liam in through the side entrance, praying no one would see. The break room was tucked away down a back hallway, far from the reception area. She got him settled at a small table in the corner. "Remember," she whispered, "quiet as a mouse." "Quieter," Liam whispered back with a grin. The morning actually went okay. Maya kept checking on him during her breaks. Each time he was exactly where she'd left him, head bent over his homework or nose in a book. Around noon, she brought him half her sandwich. "How are you doing?" she asked. "Good. I finished all my math homework. Mrs. Peterson is going to be so surprised." He paused, chewing thoughtfully. "Mom, can I walk around a little? My legs feel weird from sitting so long." Maya hesitated. The lunch hour was busy, lots of people coming and going. But the break room was tucked away. "Okay, but stay on this floor. And if you see anyone who looks like they work here, come straight back." "I will." Liam wandered out into the hallway, stretching his legs. He walked slowly, looking at the fancy art on the walls, the thick carpet under his feet. Everything here looked expensive. Back home, they had furniture from the thrift store and walls that needed painting. He turned a corner and found himself near the main lobby. That's when he saw the other boy. The kid was maybe a bit older than him, 9 or 10, sitting alone on one of the fancy couches. He was dressed in clothes that looked really nice, the kind Liam saw in store windows but never in his closet. A crisp white shirt, dark pants, shiny shoes. But even from across the lobby, Liam could tell the boy looked sad. He kept checking his watch and looking toward the elevators like he was waiting for someone. Liam knew that feeling. He remembered waiting for his dad last year on his birthday. His dad had promised to pick him up at 2 for a special day together. Liam had sat by the window until 8 at night before his mom finally told him Dad wasn't coming. Without thinking too much about it, Liam walked over. "Hi," the boy looked up, surprised. "Hi, are you waiting for someone?" "My dad. He said he'd be done with his meeting at noon." The boy checked his watch again. That was 45 minutes ago. "Oh." Liam sat down on the couch, leaving a respectful space between them. "I'm waiting too, kind of. My mom works here. I'm supposed to be invisible today." That got a small smile from the other boy. "How's that going?" "Not great, I guess, since you can see me." Liam grinned. "Are you hungry?" "I have half a sandwich left. My mom always packs too much." "Really?" The boy looked uncertain. "Yeah, here." Liam pulled out the Ziploc bag with the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It wasn't fancy, but it was food. "It's just PB&J, but it's good." The boy took it carefully like it was something precious. "Thanks, I haven't eaten since breakfast." They sat there together. The rich kid in expensive clothes eating a squished peanut butter sandwich, and Liam swinging his legs because they didn't quite reach the floor. "My name's Liam. I'm Alex. Is your dad a lawyer here?" "Yeah, a partner. He's always busy." Alex said it matter-of-factly, but Liam could hear the sadness underneath. "My dad's busy too, except he's busy forgetting about me." Liam shrugged. "But my mom never forgets. She works really hard for us." "That's nice," Alex said quietly. "My mom's gone a lot too. Business trips." They talked for a few more minutes. Liam told Alex about his school and his favorite video game, even though he only got to play it at his friend's house because they couldn't afford a console. Alex listened like it was the most interesting thing in the world. Then Liam showed Alex a drawing he'd made in art class, a picture of a superhero flying over a city. "This is really good," Alex said. "You can have it if you want. I make lots of drawings." "Really?" Alex took the paper like it was valuable. "Thank you." Just then, Liam saw his mom peeking around the corner, her eyes wide with panic. He jumped up. "I have to go. I hope your dad comes soon. Thanks for the sandwich. And for talking to me." Liam hurried back to his mom, who grabbed his hand and pulled him quickly toward the break room. She looked scared and upset, and Liam's stomach dropped. He'd messed up. He was supposed to stay invisible, and instead he'd gone to the lobby. What Liam didn't know was that his mom wasn't upset about him talking to the boy. She was upset because her supervisor, Ms. Brooks, had just seen them, and Ms. Brooks was walking toward them right now, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor, her face set in a hard, angry expression that meant nothing good. Ms. Brooks didn't say a word until they were all standing in the break room. She closed the door behind her with a firm click that made Liam jump. Maya positioned herself slightly in front of her son, her heart hammering so hard she could feel it in her throat. "Would you care to explain what a child is doing in this office?" Ms. Brooks's voice was ice cold. "Ms. Brooks, I can explain. My regular babysitter had a medical emergency this morning. She's in the hospital with pneumonia, and I had no other options. I couldn't afford to miss work, and I thought, you thought you could turn our law firm into a daycare center?" Ms. Brooks crossed her arms. She was a tall woman in her 50s, always perfectly dressed, never a hair out of place. She'd worked at Sterling and Associates for 20 years and ran the support staff like a military operation. "No, of course not. Liam has been quiet all day in the break room. He's doing his homework. Nobody even knew he was here. Until he decided to wander into our lobby and start talking to clients' children." Ms. Brooks's lips pressed into a thin line. "Do you understand how unprofessional this looks? This is a prestigious law firm, Maya. We have standards. We have policies." Liam tugged on his mom's sleeve. "I'm sorry. I just saw the other boy looked sad and I—" "Young man, I'm not speaking to you." Ms. Brooks didn't even look at him. Maya felt anger flash through her fear. "Don't talk to my son like that." "I'll talk however I need to. You violated multiple workplace policies. You brought an unauthorized person into a secured building. You left him unsupervised. This is grounds for immediate termination." The words hit Maya like a physical blow. Please, please, Ms. Brooks, I've worked here for 3 years. I've never been late, never missed a day except when it was absolutely unavoidable. This was an emergency. It won't happen again. You're right, it won't, because you no longer work here. Ms. Brooks walked to the door and opened it. You have 15 minutes to collect your things and leave the building. Ms. Brooks, please. I'm a single mother. I need this job. I can't, Maya's voice cracked. She could feel tears threatening, but she refused to cry in front of this woman. You should have thought about that before bringing your personal problems to work. 15 minutes. Security will escort you out if you're not gone by then. And just like that, she was gone, the door closing behind her with a soft click that sounded like the end of everything. Maya stood there, frozen. Her mind was racing, trying to figure out what to do, how to fix this, but she couldn't think straight. All she could see was the bills piled up on her kitchen counter. The eviction notice she'd gotten last month when she was 3 days late with rent. The warning from the landlord that one more late payment and they were out. Mom? Liam's small voice broke through her panic. She looked down at him. His eyes were huge, filled with guilt and fear. He was 7 years old and he looked like he'd just destroyed his mother's life. Maya knelt down and pulled him into a tight hug. This is not your fault. Do you hear me? This is not your fault, but I walked out. You told me to stay here and I didn't listen. You were being kind to another kid. You shared your lunch with someone who needed a friend. That's not something to be sorry about. She pulled back, holding his face in her hands. You did nothing wrong, Liam, nothing. Then why are you crying? Maya hadn't even realized she was. She wiped her eyes quickly. Because grown-ups are stupid sometimes. Come on, let's get our things. She didn't have much to pack. A few personal photos on her desk. A sweater she kept in her drawer. Her lunch bag from the mini-fridge. Other receptionists watched as she walked through the office, their faces sympathetic but silent. Nobody said anything. Nobody stood up for her. She didn't blame them. They all needed their jobs, too. The security guard who escorted them downstairs was at least kind about it. He was an older man named Robert who'd always been nice to her. I'm sorry about this, Maya, he said quietly in the elevator. Thanks, Robert. You're a good worker. Brooks is just, well, she's Brooks. They stepped out into the bright afternoon sunshine. The city was bustling around them, everyone rushing to their next meeting or appointment, completely unaware that Maya's world had just collapsed. Liam held her hand tightly as they walked to the bus stop. What are we going to do? We're going to figure it out. We always do, right? But that night, after Liam was asleep, Maya sat at her kitchen table with her laptop and a growing sense of dread. She started applying for jobs, any jobs she could find. Receptionist positions, administrative assistants, customer service roles. Her fingers flew over the keyboard, sending out application after application. The problem was, every application asked the same questions. Why did you leave your last position? How long was the gap in employment? She couldn't lie, but she also couldn't tell the truth. I was fired for bringing my son to work during a childcare emergency. Didn't exactly scream, hire me. Days turned into weeks. Maya's savings, which had never been much to begin with, evaporated. She started doing rideshare driving at night after Liam was asleep. Her neighbor's teenage daughter sitting in the apartment just in case Liam woke up. She picked up grocery delivery jobs, worked whenever and wherever she could. But gig work was unpredictable. One week she might make decent money, the next barely anything. And none of it offered health insurance, which she desperately needed for Liam's asthma medication. She sold everything she could. The TV she'd bought 2 years ago, her few pieces of jewelry, the nice winter coat she'd saved up for. None of it was worth much, but every little bit helped. The worst moment came on a Tuesday evening. Liam had run out of his asthma medication and Maya was standing in the pharmacy, staring at the price on the screen. That'll be $143, the pharmacist said. Maya looked in her wallet. She had $62. That was all the money she had in the world until her next rideshare payment came through in 3 days. And they needed groceries. Real groceries, not just ramen and peanut butter. Is there a generic version? Or a payment plan? The pharmacist, a tired-looking woman about Maya's age, checked her computer. I'm sorry, honey. This is the generic, and we don't do payment plans. But you could try calling his doctor, see if they have any samples. Maya nodded, feeling numb. She left without the medication, holding the prescription slip in her hand like it was burning her fingers. That night, She made Liam spaghetti with butter because it was all they had. She watched him eat, forcing herself to smile, pretending everything was fine. But inside she was screaming. What kind of mother couldn't afford her child's medication? What kind of mother couldn't even put proper food on the table? Mom? Liam looked up at her. Are you okay? I'm fine, baby. You're not eating. I'm not very hungry. You finish yours. Truth was, she'd given him her portion. There wasn't enough for both of them. After dinner, Liam got quiet. He went to his room and came back with his piggy bank, the plastic dinosaur he'd been filling with coins and dollar bills from birthday money. Here, he said, holding it out to her. What's this for? I've been saving for a new game, but you can have it. For food and stuff. Maya's eyes filled with tears. She pulled him close. No, baby. That's your money. You keep it, but I said no. We're going to be okay. I promise. She had no idea how she was going to keep that promise. The eviction notice came 2 weeks later. 30 days to vacate the premises. Maya stared at the paper, reading it over and over like the words might change if she just looked at them enough times. She'd failed. She'd failed at her marriage, failed at keeping a job, and now she was failing at the most basic thing, keeping a roof over her son's head. But she couldn't give up. She couldn't let Liam end up in the system, bouncing from foster home to foster home. She'd sleep in her car before she let that happen. So she kept applying, kept hustling, kept pretending everything was fine when Liam asked questions, and then, 6 months after that terrible day at Sterling and Associates, Maya was scrolling through job listings at 2 a.m, half asleep and completely defeated when she saw it. Executive assistant position, Morrison Tech. A startup that had been making waves in the tech industry. The pay was actually better than what she'd made at the law firm. The job description talked about a collaborative environment, work-life balance, supporting employee well-being. It sounded too good to be true. Maya almost didn't apply. What was the point? Her resume was a disaster. She had a 6-month gap and a termination on her record. No way would they pick her. But something made her click the button. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was the tiny spark of hope she couldn't quite kill no matter how hard life tried. Maybe it was the memory of Liam handing her his piggy bank, trusting that his mom would figure it out. She filled out the application, wrote a cover letter that was honest without being pathetic, and hit submit at 2:47 in the morning. Then she closed her laptop, put her head down on the kitchen table, and let herself cry for the first time in months. Really cry. The kind of crying that shakes your whole body and leaves you gasping for air. When she was done, she felt hollow, but somehow lighter. She'd done all she could. The rest was up to the universe or fate or whatever was out there deciding whether people like her got second chances. In his room, Liam slept peacefully, clutching the drawing he'd made that day of him and his mom as superheroes. In the picture, they were flying together, his mom carrying him through the clouds toward a bright sun. If only real life worked like that. Maya didn't expect to hear anything back. She'd sent out so many applications over the past 6 months that hope had become a luxury she couldn't afford. Most companies never even sent a rejection email. They just left you hanging, wondering, checking your inbox obsessively for responses that never came. So when her phone rang 5 days later with a number she didn't recognize, she almost didn't answer. Unknown numbers usually meant debt collectors or scammers, but something made her pick up. Hello? Hi, is this Maya Rodriguez? Yes? This is David Park from Morrison Tech. We received your application for the executive assistant position and we'd love to bring you in for an interview. Maya's hand tightened on the phone. Really? Really? Are you available Thursday at 2? Thursday. That was 3 days away. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. After she hung up, Maya just sat there on her worn couch, staring at nothing. An interview. An actual interview. She hadn't made it past the application stage for anything in months. Mom, Liam came out of his room where he'd been doing homework. Who was that? That was a company calling about a job. They want to interview me. Liam's face lit up like Christmas morning. He ran over and hugged her tight. See? I told you someone would see how great you are. Maya hugged him back, breathing in the smell of his kid shampoo. Don't get too excited yet, buddy. It's just an interview. I still have to actually get the job. You will. I know you will. She wished she had even half his confidence. The next 3 days were a blur of preparation. Maya pulled her one good interview suit from the back of the closet. The navy blue one she'd bought when she first got the job at Sterling and Associates. It still fit, though it needed ironing. She practiced answering questions in front of the bathroom mirror. She researched Morrison Tech until she could recite their mission statement in her sleep. Morrison Tech was a relatively new company, only about 5 years old, but it had exploded in growth. They developed software solutions for small businesses, making technology accessible and affordable. Their CEO, Alex Morrison, was young, only 28, but he'd built the company from nothing into something that was now valued at over $50 million. What caught Maya's attention was an article she found about Morrison's management style. He'd implemented a 4-day workweek. The company had on-site childcare. They offered generous parental leave for both mothers and fathers. One employee in the article said, "Alex built the kind of company he wished existed. He actually cares about us as people, not just workers." It sounded like a fantasy. Companies like that didn't exist in Maya's experience. But maybe, just maybe, it was real. Thursday arrived. Maya dropped Liam at school, promising she'd pick him up right on time, and took 2 buses across town to Morrison Tech's offices. They were in a converted warehouse in an up-and-coming neighborhood, all exposed brick and big windows and plants everywhere. So different from the cold marble and glass tower of Sterling and Associates. The receptionist was young, maybe 22, with bright pink hair and multiple ear piercings. She smiled warmly when Maya walked in. "You must be Maya. I'm Casey. David will be right out. Can I get you some water or coffee?" "Water would be great, thank you." Casey came back with water in a real glass, not a disposable cup. "So you're interviewing for the EA position?" "That's awesome. David's great to work for. Actually, everyone here is pretty great. It's a good place." Before Maya could respond, a man in his mid-30s came out. He was wearing jeans and a button-up shirt, no tie. "Maya, I'm David, thanks so much for coming in." The interview was nothing like Maya expected. Instead of a formal office, David led her to a casual meeting room with comfortable chairs and a window overlooking the street. He started by asking about her background and experience, and Maya answered honestly, walking through her 3 years at Sterling and Associates. Then came the question she'd been dreading. "I notice there's a gap in your employment. Can you tell me about that?" Maya had rehearsed this answer 100 times, but actually saying it out loud was harder than she'd thought. "I was let go from my previous position due to a childcare emergency. My regular babysitter was hospitalized unexpectedly, and I made the difficult decision to bring my 7-year-old son to work with me. It violated company policy, and I was terminated." She waited for David's face to change, for the interview to effectively be over. Instead, he nodded thoughtfully. "That must have been incredibly difficult. Can I ask what you've been doing since then?" "Gig work mostly. Rideshare driving? Food delivery, whatever I could find to pay bills. I've been applying for positions, but it's been challenging. I appreciate your honesty." David made some notes. "Let me tell you a bit about Morrison Tech and what we're looking for. Our CEO is very involved in hiring decisions, especially for roles that work closely with him. He believes in giving people second chances and looking at the whole person, not just their resume. He built this company on the principle that work should support life, not consume it." "That sounds almost too good to be true," Maya said before she could stop herself. David laughed. "I know. I thought the same thing when I interviewed here 3 years ago. But it's real. Alex's leadership style is different. He means it when he says he values work-life balance. The on-site childcare isn't just for show. People actually use it." They talked for another 45 minutes. David asked about her organizational skills, how she handled stress, her communication style. Maya answered as best she could, trying to show confidence she didn't entirely feel. Finally, David stood up. "I'm going to be straight with you, Maya. I think you'd be a great fit here. Your experience is solid, and I appreciate how you handled a difficult situation even though it didn't work out in your favor. I'm going to recommend you to Alex. He'll want to meet you before we make any final decisions, but I wanted you to know that you impressed me today." Maya felt tears threatening and blinked them back hard. "Thank you. That means a lot. We'll be in touch early next week about next steps." On the bus ride home, Maya let herself feel a tiny bit of hope. Just a tiny bit. She couldn't afford more than that. Not yet. Liam was waiting on the front steps of the school when she got there, his backpack next to him. He jumped up when he saw her. "How'd it go?" "It went well. They're going to call me next week. I knew it. I drew you a good luck picture." He pulled out a slightly crumpled drawing from his backpack. It showed two stick figures, one big and one small, holding hands in front of a building with the words Morrison Tech written above it. The spelling was wrong, but the sentiment made Maya's heart squeeze. "It's perfect, baby. Thank you." That weekend crawled by. Maya tried not to obsess, but she couldn't help checking her phone every 10 minutes. On Monday afternoon, while she was in the middle of a grocery delivery, David called. "Maya, good news. Alex wants to meet you. Are you free tomorrow at 10? "Yes, absolutely." "Great, this is really just a formality. Alex trusts my judgment, but he likes to personally meet anyone who's going to work closely with him. Just be yourself. Just be yourself." Easy to say, harder to do when your entire future was hanging in the balance. Tuesday morning, Maya was back at Morrison Tech, even more nervous than before. Casey greeted her again with that same warm smile. "Alex is running a few minutes behind. He just got back from a trip to Singapore and his morning's been crazy."
"Can I get you anything while you wait?"
"I'm fine, thank you." Maya sat in the waiting area, her hands clasped tight in her lap to keep them from shaking. This was it. This was her chance to turn everything around. To get stable work with good pay and benefits. To be able to afford Liam's medication without having to choose between that and food. To maybe, finally, stop feeling like she was drowning. The elevator doors opened and a young man stepped out. He was wearing dark jeans and a gray Henley, carrying a leather messenger bag. He looked tired, like someone who'd been traveling for hours, but there was an intensity in his eyes as he scanned the lobby. Those eyes landed on Maya, and he stopped. Just completely stopped, right there in the middle of the lobby. She felt a flicker of confusion. Did she know him from somewhere? "Ms. Rodriguez?" His voice was quiet, almost stunned. "Yes?" He stared at her for another long moment, and Maya saw something flicker across his face. Recognition, and something else she couldn't quite name. "I'm Alex Morrison. Could you come with me, please?" His tone was strange, careful. Maya stood up, her heart starting to pound for reasons she couldn't explain. There was something about the way he was looking at her, something that made her think this wasn't going to be a normal interview. They walked in silence to his office. It was a corner room with huge windows and a view of the city, but Maya barely noticed the view. She was too focused on Alex Morrison, who was moving around his desk with an odd, almost urgent energy. He set down his bag and turned to face her. "Ms. Rodriguez, I need to ask you something, and I know this is going to sound strange. Do you have a son named Liam?" Maya's breath caught. How did he know that? "Yes, about 7 years old. Goes to Jefferson Elementary." "How do you know that?" Fear started creeping in. Was this some kind of background check gone wrong? Had something happened to Liam? Alex walked around his desk and pulled open a drawer. He reached in and took something out, holding it carefully. It was a piece of paper. A child's drawing, wrinkled and clearly old, preserved between two pieces of plastic like it was something precious. Maya's mind went blank as she looked at it. She knew that drawing. She knew it because she'd watched Liam make it. Watched him color it carefully with his crayons that day in the break room. The day everything fell apart. The drawing showed two boys, stick figures holding what might have been a sandwich between them. Above them, in Liam's careful 7-year-old handwriting, were the words "Friends Share." Alex held it like it was made of gold. "6 months ago, your son shared his lunch with me when I was sitting alone in a law firm lobby. He talked to me, drew me this picture, and made me feel like I wasn't invisible. And then I watched your supervisor fire you for being a good mother." Maya couldn't breathe. The boy, the rich kid in expensive clothes that Liam had befriended. "That was Alex Morrison? I was that kid," Alex said quietly. "And I've been looking for you ever since." Maya stood frozen in Alex Morrison's office, staring at the drawing her son had made 6 months ago. The drawing this successful CEO had kept, protected, treasured. Her mind was racing, trying to make sense of what was happening. "I don't understand," she finally managed to say. Alex gestured to the chairs by his desk. "Please sit down. I know this must be shocking." Maya sat, mostly because her legs felt unsteady. Alex took the chair across from her, still holding the drawing carefully. "That day," he started, his voice quiet, "I was waiting for my father. He was a senior partner at Sterling & Associates. He'd promised to take me to my grandmother's birthday dinner. She was turning 80 and I hadn't seen her in months because of my parents' schedules." He paused, looking down at the drawing. I'd been sitting in that lobby for almost 2 hours. His secretary kept telling me, just another few minutes, but I knew. I knew he'd forgotten about me again. It wasn't the first time. It wasn't even the 10th time. Maya felt her heart squeeze. She remembered Liam telling her about the sad boy in the fancy clothes. Then your son came over. This little kid I'd never met, and he just sat down next to me and asked if I was okay. He shared his sandwich with me. It was peanut butter and jelly, probably the simplest meal in the world. But it was the first time in months anyone had just freely given me something without wanting anything back. Alex looked up at Maya, and she saw pain in his eyes. Old pain, the kind that doesn't fully heal. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. He told me about his school, about his favorite games, about his mom who worked really hard for him. And then he gave me this. He held up the drawing. He said I could keep it, that he made lots of drawings, so I should have one. Liam has always been kind like that, Maya said softly. I know. And then I watched you come get him. I saw the panic on your face. And I saw Ms. Brooks walking toward you with that look on her face, the one that meant someone was about to have a very bad day. Alex set the drawing down carefully on his desk. I didn't understand what was happening at first. But my father came out a few minutes later, annoyed that I was still there, and I heard the office gossip. The receptionist who'd brought her kid to work and got fired for it. It was against policy, Maya said, though the words tasted bitter. I knew the rules, and the rules were wrong. Alex's voice was firm. You were a single mother in an impossible situation. You needed help, not punishment. But that's how that place worked. How a lot of places work? I've thought about that day every single day since it happened. Maya shook her head, still trying to process this. But you were just a kid. How did you even remember my name? I asked around. Found out who the receptionist was who got fired. Maya Rodriguez. He gave a small smile. I wrote it down in my phone so I wouldn't forget. And I promised myself that if I ever had any power, any influence, I'd do things differently. So you built a company, Maya said slowly. The pieces starting to come together. So I built a company, Alex confirmed. When I turned 18, I got access to my trust fund. My parents thought I'd use it to party or buy expensive things. Instead, I used it to start Morrison Tech. And every single policy I put in place, every benefit, every structure of how this company works, I asked myself, would this help someone like Maya? Would this help someone like me, that lonely kid waiting for parents who never showed up? He stood and walked to the window looking out over the city. The on-site childcare, that's because no one should have to choose between watching their kid and paying their rent. The 4-day work week? Because people need time for their lives, not just their jobs. The generous sick leave and family emergency policies? Because life happens and punishing people for being human is cruel. Maya felt tears building in her eyes. You built all of this because my son shared a sandwich with you? Alex turned back to face her. I built all of this because your son reminded me what kindness looks like. And because I watched the system punish you for being a good mother. I couldn't fix what happened to you back then. But I could try to build something better. And when you saw my application, I recognized your name immediately. I had David do some checking to make sure it was the same person, and when it was, he ran a hand through his hair. I need you to understand something, Maya. I didn't call you in because I felt sorry for you. I called you in because you're qualified. David agrees. Your experience at Sterling & Associates was solid. Your references from before that were excellent. You can do this job. But the personal connection means I wanted to meet you myself, to say thank you, to tell you what your son's kindness meant to me. Alex came back and sat down. But I'm not offering you this job out of guilt or obligation. I'm offering it because you're good at what you do, and because I think you'd thrive here. Maya looked at him, really looked at him. He was young, younger than she was, but there was an old soul quality to him. The kind that came from experiencing pain early. What happened with your father? She asked. Did he ever show up that day? Alex's jaw tightened slightly. He came out 3 hours later. Didn't apologize, just told me to stop being dramatic. We went to dinner and he spent the whole time on his phone. My grandmother cried when she saw me because I was the only grandchild who showed up. He paused. That was the day I decided I wasn't going to be like him. I wasn't going to be someone who put money and status above people. That must have been hard, breaking away from that life. My parents didn't speak to me for 2 years after I started this company. They thought I was wasting my potential, throwing away my future. My dad said I'd come crawling back when the money ran out, Alex smiled slightly. I haven't, and we have a better relationship now, actually. He retired last year, and I think not working 90-hour weeks has helped him remember how to be human. Maya wiped at her eyes. This is a lot to take in, I know, and I'm sorry for springing it on you like this, but I wanted you to understand the full picture before you made a decision. Alex leaned forward, his expression earnest. Maya, I'm offering you this job. The salary is $68,000 a year, full benefits including health, dental, and vision. Access to on-site childcare for Liam. 4-day work weeks except during our quarterly planning sessions. 3 weeks paid vacation to start, increasing after a year. And I promise you, this is a place where if you need to take your kid to a doctor's appointment, or if childcare falls through, we figure it out together. We don't fire people for being human. $68,000 a year. Maya had been making $42,000 at Sterling and Associates. This was life-changing money. This was pay rent on time and fill prescriptions without panic and maybe save something for emergencies money. I don't know what to say, Maya whispered. Say you'll think about it. You don't have to answer right now. Are you kidding? Maya let out a slightly hysterical laugh. Yes, of course, yes. When do I start? Alex grinned and suddenly he looked his age, like the kid Liam had shared lunch with. Monday? That gives you a few days to sort out childcare registration and get oriented. Monday is perfect. They stood and Alex extended his hand. Maya shook it, feeling the surreal quality of this moment. 6 months ago, she'd been escorted out of a building by security. Now she was shaking hands with a CEO who'd built a company based on kindness. There's one more thing, Alex said. I'd really like to meet Liam again. If that's okay with you, he'd love that. He's going to flip out when I tell him. Maybe don't mention the whole I built a company because of him thing right away, Alex said with a laugh. That might be a lot of pressure for a 7-year-old. Deal. Maya left Morrison Tech feeling like she was floating. She pulled out her phone and called her neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, who'd been watching Liam after school for the past few weeks in exchange for Maya's help with grocery shopping. Mrs. Johnson, can you keep Liam for 1 more hour? I need to do something. She took the bus to the cemetery on the east side of town, found her mother's grave, the simple headstone with just her name and dates. Maya's mom had died when she was 19, right before Liam was born. She'd never gotten to meet her grandson. Maya sat down in the grass next to the grave. Hey, Mom. I know it's been a while since I visited. Things have been hard. She took a shaky breath. But something good happened today. Something really good. And I just wanted to tell you about it. To tell you that we're going to be okay. Liam and me, we're going to be okay. She stayed there for a while, telling her mother everything. About the job. About Alex. About the strange and wonderful way life sometimes comes full circle. When she finally picked up Liam from Mrs. Johnson's apartment, he took one look at her face and knew something had changed. You got it. You got the job. Maya swept him up in a hug, spinning him around even though he was getting too big for that. I got it. And buddy, wait until I tell you about the person I met today. That night they celebrated with pizza. Real pizza from the actual pizza place, not frozen. They couldn't really afford it yet, but Maya didn't care. Some moments deserved celebration. As Liam ate his 3rd slice, he said, Mom, do you think the boy I met that day is okay? The sad one in the fancy clothes? Maya smiled. Yeah, baby. I think he turned out just fine. And you know what? I think you're going to see him again really soon. Really? Really? And I think he wants to say thank you for being kind to him. Liam thought about this, then shrugged and went back to his pizza. Because for him, sharing his lunch with a lonely kid wasn't some grand gesture. It was just the obvious thing to do. Maya watched her son eat and felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Pure, uncomplicated hope for the future. Monday. Morning arrived with rain clouds and the kind of nervous energy that made Maya check her outfit 5 times before leaving the apartment. She'd bought a new blouse with some of her last rideshare earnings. Nothing fancy, but it was nice to have something that made her feel professional again. Liam was even more excited than she was. Can I come see your office after school? Not today, buddy. But soon, I promise. Alex said he wants to meet you. The boss wants to meet me? Why? Maya had decided to keep the full story simple for now, because I told him what a great kid you are. The first week at Morrison Tech was overwhelming in the best possible way. Casey showed Maya around, introduced her to everyone, explained the systems and processes. The office culture was completely different from Sterling and Associates. People decorated their desks with personal photos and plants. There was a room with beanbags and video games for breaks. The kitchen had actual good coffee and snacks that were free for everyone. But what struck Maya most was how people treated each other. In meetings, everyone listened. Ideas from junior employees were taken as seriously as ideas from executives. When someone mentioned they needed to leave early for their kids' school play, nobody gave them grief about it. Is it always like this? Maya asked Casey on her third day. Like what? So human? Casey laughed. Yeah, Alex is serious about the culture thing. He fires people who are jerks even if they're good at their jobs. Says skills can be taught but character can't. On Friday, Alex called Maya into his office. How's your first week been? Honestly, it's been amazing. Everyone's been so welcoming. Good, I'm glad. He hesitated, then said, I was wondering if you and Liam might want to have lunch tomorrow. Nothing formal, just pizza or something. I'd really like to meet him again. He's been asking about you all week. I think he'd love that. They met at a pizza place near Maya's apartment. Alex showed up in jeans and a t-shirt, looking more like a regular 20-something than a CEO worth millions. Liam was shy at first, hiding a bit behind Maya until Alex pulled out the drawing. Hey, Liam, do you remember making this? Liam's eyes went wide. You kept it? Of course I kept it. It's one of my favorite things. Alex smiled. Do you remember the boy you gave it to? Liam studied Alex's face, and Maya could see the moment recognition hit. The sad boy. For my mom's work. You're him. I'm him. And I wanted to say thank you. What you did that day, sharing your lunch and talking to me, it meant more than you know. Liam looked confused. But I just gave you my sandwich. It was just PB&J. Sometimes the simplest things matter the most, Alex said. You saw someone who was having a bad day and you tried to help. That's not something everyone does. Over pizza, they talked. Alex asked Liam about school and his favorite subjects. Liam, warming up, told him about the science project he was working on about planets. Alex listened with genuine interest, asking questions, suggesting ideas. Maya watched them together and felt something shift in her chest. For so long, it had been just her and Liam against the world. She'd never let herself imagine that there might be someone else who could care about her kid, who could see how special he was. Can I ask you something? Liam said suddenly, looking at Alex with his serious face. Why were you so sad that day? Alex didn't brush off the question or deflect. My dad forgot about me. Again. I was supposed to matter to him, but his work always seemed more important. Liam nodded solemnly. My dad forgets about me too. He was supposed to come to my birthday last year and he didn't. I'm sorry. That's really hard. Yeah, but my mom never forgets. She's always there. Liam looked at Maya with such pure love that she had to blink back tears. Even when things are bad, she's there. Your mom is pretty amazing, Alex agreed. And the way he said it made Maya's cheeks warm. After lunch, as they were walking back to Maya's apartment, Liam reached up and took Alex's hand on one side and Maya's on the other. Can we do this again sometime? I'd like that, Alex said, and they did. It became a regular thing, these Saturday lunches. Sometimes they'd go to the park. Sometimes they'd go to museums. Alex taught Liam about coding, showed him how to make simple games on the computer. Maya watched her son light up in ways she hadn't seen before. 3 months into her job, Maya was promoted to chief of staff. You've transformed how this office runs, Alex told her. David's great, but you have this way of seeing what people need before they ask. You've made this place even better. With a raise came real stability. Maya and Liam moved into a better apartment, a 2-bedroom in a safer neighborhood with an actual playground. Liam's asthma medicine was never a question anymore. They could afford real groceries, new clothes when they needed them, even occasional treats. But more than the financial stability, Maya felt something else growing. A sense of belonging. A community. The people at Morrison Tech weren't just co-workers. They were becoming friends, and Alex was becoming something else entirely. It happened slowly, naturally. The Saturday lunches started including just the two of them sometimes, when Liam was at a friend's house. They'd talk about everything from business strategy to their childhoods to their dreams for the future. Maya found herself looking forward to seeing him each day at work, found her heart doing a little skip when he smiled at her. She tried to tell herself it was just gratitude, just appreciation for everything he'd done, but she knew it was more than that. One evening, 6 months after she'd started at Morrison Tech, Alex asked if she wanted to get dinner after work. Just the two of them. They went to a quiet restaurant, nothing fancy but nice. Over pasta, Alex said, "I need to tell you something and it might make things weird." Maya's stomach tightened. "Okay. That day, 6 months ago when you walked into my office for your interview, I recognized you immediately. But it wasn't just because I'd been looking for you. It was because I'd thought about you so many times over the years. About the woman who got fired for being a good mother. About whether you were okay, whether your son was okay. And when I finally found you, when you were sitting in my office, I realized something." He paused, gathering his thoughts. "I realized that I'd built this company partly as a message to you. To tell you that what happened was wrong. That you deserved better. That people who care about their families shouldn't be punished for it. I built Morrison Tech as an apology to someone I'd never met but couldn't forget. Alex, let me finish." He reached across the table, not quite touching her hand, but close. "And then I got to know you. The real you, not just the idea I'd built up. And Maya, you're incredible. You're smart and kind and funny and so strong. Watching you with Liam, seeing how you've turned your life around, being lucky enough to work with you every day. I've fallen for you completely." Maya's heart was pounding. "You're my boss, I know. And I would never, ever use that dynamic to pressure you. If you don't feel the same way, we'll pretend this conversation never happened. Nothing changes at work. I promise." "I didn't say I don't feel the same way." Alex looked up, hope written across his face. No. Maya smiled. "I've been trying not to feel this way for months. Telling myself it was just gratitude or that it wasn't appropriate or that I was imagining things. But Alex, you've become one of the most important people in my life. And it scares me how much I care about you." "It scares me too," he admitted. "But maybe that's okay. Maybe the best things are a little scary." They took it slow. Started dating officially, but kept it quiet at work for a while, not wanting to complicate things. Liam figured it out pretty quickly, though. "Are you and Alex boyfriend and girlfriend?" he asked one night at dinner. Maya blushed. "Would that be okay with you?" Liam thought about it seriously. "Yeah, he's nice. And he makes you smile a lot. You didn't smile much before." "That's true," Maya said softly. "I didn't." A year after Maya started at Morrison Tech, something interesting happened. Ms. Brooks, the supervisor who'd fired her, applied for a position at the company. David brought the application to Maya since she was now involved in hiring decisions. Maya stared at the resume, feeling a complicated mix of emotions. Part of her wanted to reject it immediately, to give Brooks a taste of what it felt like to be dismissed and judged. But that wasn't who Maya was. And it wasn't what Morrison Tech stood for. She called Brooks in for an interview. The woman walked into the office looking polished and professional as always, but Maya saw the moment recognition hit. Brooks actually went pale. "Ms. Rodriguez, I didn't realize you worked here." "I do. I'm chief of staff." Maya kept her voice level, professional. "Please have a seat." The interview was awkward. Brooks clearly wanted to address what had happened, but didn't know how. Finally, Maya decided to bring it up herself. "Ms. Brooks, I think we should talk about Sterling and Associates."